All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going way beyond just burning calories and building muscle. We're going to pull back the curtain on the incredible, hidden symphony of biochemistry that your body conducts every single time you move. We're talking about the precise molecular signals that turn a simple workout into some of the most powerful medicine on the planet. Let's get into it.
You know that feeling, right? Your heart is pounding, your muscles are on fire. But have you ever stopped to wonder what's really going on under the hood? What's the actual command chain making all that happen? What signals are firing and what molecules are being unleashed? Today, we're going to uncover that hidden world. So here's the game plan. We're going to start in the engine room, your muscles, to see exactly how they get their fuel. Then we'll head up to the command center, the brain, and explore the science behind that amazing post-workout feeling. After that, we'll check out how our hormones recalibrate the body's stress style. And to wrap it all up, we'll figure out how you can find your own perfect dose of exercise. Okay, first stop, the muscles. The second you start exercising, your muscle cells are basically screaming for energy. That energy comes from glucose, sugar, floating around in your bloodstream. But there's a problem. How do they get it from the blood and pull it inside the cell where they need it?
Well, meet GLUT4. That stands for glucose transporter type 4. Think of this little protein as a bouncer, or a gatekeeper, standing on the surface of your muscle cells. Its one and only job is to open the door and let glucose in. So pretty simple. The more of these GLUT4 gateways you have on the cell's surface, the more fuel your muscles can suck up.
Now here's where it gets absolutely fascinating. There are two different ways to tell GLUT4 to open the door. The first way is the one we all know about, the insulin pathway. But, in conditions like type 2 diabetes, that pathway gets sluggish. It becomes resistant. And this is where exercise performs a kind of biological magic trick. The simple act of contracting your muscles triggers a second, totally separate pathway that doesn't need insulin at all. It's a brilliant workaround. And the master switch for this incredible exercise pathway is an enzyme called AMPK. For all you science buffs out there, that's 5-AMP activated protein kinase. When your cells start burning through their energy reserves, AMPK acts like a low fuel light on your dashboard. It senses the drop in energy and immediately flips a switch that tells the muscle, hey, we need more fuel, like right now. And it's that AMPK signal that tells GLUT4 to get to the cell surface, completely bypassing any need for insulin.
And look, this isn't just a theory. Check out this data from a study done on diabetic rats. After 6 weeks, the rats doing high-intensity interval training, that's HIIT, had a dramatically higher expression of GLT4 in their muscles. That means their bodies were literally building more of these fuel gateways compared to the other groups. It's a perfect picture of how intense exercise can supercharge your muscles' ability to take in fuel. And here's the mechanism, the why behind it. The same study showed that AMPK activation, or its phosphorylation, was way, way higher in the HIIT group. You can see the clear connection. More intense exercise flips that AMPK energy sensor harder, which in turn tells the cells to build more GLUT4 transporters. It's a beautiful chain of events. But, of course, the magic of exercise isn't just in our muscles. Let's see what's happening upstairs. Okay, so we're leaving the body's engine room and traveling up to its command center, the brain. You know that incredible feeling of calm and well-being after a great workout? Well, it's not just in your head. It is a precisely orchestrated neurochemical event. The classic example, of course, is the runner's high. That feeling of euphoria, of less pain, it's fascinated scientists for ages. For a long, long time, the story was that it was all about one specific molecule. But as we're about to see, the real story is so much more interesting. This incredible feeling is actually created by a whole cocktail of compounds. You've got the famous one, beta-endorphin, which is the body's natural opioid. But you also have anandamide, often called the bliss molecule, and a powerful natural stimulant called beta-phenylethylamine. Let's just call it PEA to make things easier. So anandamide is an endocannabinoid. That means our own bodies produce a version of the active compounds in cannabis. And because it's so small, it can slip right across the blood-brain barrier to create those feelings of bliss and calm. In fact, some human studies now suggest that if you block endocannabinoids, the runner's high just doesn't happen. It seems to be a bigger player than endorphins. Then there's PEA. This stuff is a natural neuromodulator, and its chemical structure is actually pretty similar to amphetamine. And get this. One study found that after only 30 minutes of intense exercise, the amount of its main metabolite in urine shot up by an unbelievable 77%. That is a huge spike in your body's own natural stimulant, and it's a major reason for that awesome post-exercise mood lift.
So what's the deal with beta endorphin, the one we always hear about? Well, its levels definitely go up with exercise, and it for sure helps with pain relief. But the latest science is really pointing towards anandamide and PEA as the true primary drivers of that euphoric feeling. It's a fascinating update to what we thought we knew. We've looked at the muscles, we've looked at the brain. Now let's zoom out and look at the body's master control system, our hormones. More specifically, we're going to dig into how exercise helps us regulate the actual chemistry of stress.
Whenever you get stressed, a part of your brain called the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, we'll just call it the HPA axis, springs into action, and it releases cortisol. This is our #1 stress hormone. Now, in short bursts, it's a lifesaver, but when it's chronically high, it's tied to all sorts of health problems. And this brings us to the great paradox of exercise. A workout itself is a form of acute physical stress, right? It can even raise cortisol temporarily. But by exposing your body to this controlled stressor on a regular basis, you're actually training your HPA axis to be less reactive. Your whole system gets better at turning the cortisol faucet on and, more importantly, turning it back off. It makes you more resilient to all the other stresses life throws at you.
Okay, so we've seen how exercise literally remodels our muscles, our brain, and our hormonal systems. This leads us to the big practical question. How do we actually apply this knowledge? What is the right dose of exercise to get these amazing effects?
I mean, if we're going to think of exercise as medicine, then we have to know that every medicine has an optimal dose. Too little, and you get no effect. Too much, and you might even go backwards. So what does the evidence say is the sweet spot for managing stress and lowering cortisol? Well, a massive recent meta-analysis actually boiled it down to a specific number: 530 MET minutes per week. Okay, MET minutes sounds complicated, but it's not. A MET, or metabolic equivalent of task, is just a way to measure how much energy you're using. So this number represents a total volume of activity each week. So how do you get to that magic number? Let's break it down. If you're into brisk walking, which is a moderate activity, you're looking at about 120 minutes a week. That could be 4 30-minute walks. Easy. If you're doing something more vigorous, you'd only need around 90 minutes total. And for mind-body stuff, like yoga or qigong, which the study found were fantastic for cortisol reduction, you'd need more time, but at a much lower intensity. The key is you have options. But here is the most crucial takeaway from this whole section. More is not always better. The researchers found what they call an inverted U-shaped relationship. What that means is the stress-reducing benefits increase and increase up until you hit that 530 minute sweet spot. After that, they either level off or in some cases even decline. It's all about finding that Goldilocks zone, not too little and not too much. So when you put it all together, you see that exercise is so much more than just getting fit. It is a powerful biological intervention that fine-tunes your entire body, right down to the cellular, neurochemical, and hormonal levels. It really is a medicine you can prescribe for yourself every single day. So the only real question left is, what's your prescription going to be?